Forget becoming party leader, forget even becoming Prime Minister. Saving the Union is now his most important mission. And today, from an emotional David Cameron, we heard his most passionate appeal yet.
It would be a heartbreaking thing to have to do, to break up this family of nations that has been such a success, but we would have to make it happen. We are a democracy.
It was time for arguments of the heart as well as the head, he said.
It's about this.
And in blunt language, he reminded people of just what was at stake.
I think people can feel it's a bit like a general election, that you make a decision and 5 years later you can make another decision. If you're fed up with the effing Tories, give them a kick and then maybe we'll think again. This is totally different.
Afterwards, I put it to the Prime Minister, this trip to Scotland looked like panic.
Well, what it looks like is what it is that the leaders of the United Kingdom's main political parties, Labour, Conservative, Liberal Democrat, we care so passionately about this issue and about our family of nations that we wanted to come today to Scotland, separately, but to talk about these issues and to listen to people.
But it wasn't planned, was it? This has been injected into the grid at the last minute.
No, of course it wasn't planned. Normally it's Prime Minister's questions on a Wednesday.
Which just shows how badly things are going.
Well, no, what it shows is how important this question is. This is not voting for a general election and you can take a different view in 5 years' time. This is a vote for all time.
How does it feel to be the Prime Minister who may lose a part of the United Kingdom?
Well, I think the right thing to do as Prime Minister is respect the wishes of the people. We live in a democracy. Scotland voted for a Scottish National Party government whose policy it was to hold a referendum on independence. As Prime Minister, I had two choices. I could ignore Scotland and the will of the Scottish people, and I think that would have been the wrong approach, or I could listen to the Scottish people and give them a referendum that was legal, decisive and fair. I took that path, and I think it was the right path to take.
With the way it's got to be so close now, it must be keeping you awake at night, isn't it?
Well, of course, this is a huge question that people in Scotland have to make, but it's also a question that I care about passionately. This is one of the biggest decisions for Scotland in 300 years, but it's also one of the biggest decisions our United Kingdom has had to take, and of course I care passionately, and of course I'm hugely concerned about it.
All the main UK party leaders have been in Scotland today. Ed Miliband was in Glasgow.
Please stay with us. Stay with us because we are stronger together. Stay with us so we can change Britain together.
And another Labour big beast had come with his own particular appeal for a no vote.
Perhaps if England and Scotland together had one team, we could at last beat the Germans. Who knows?
David Cameron had chosen the controlled environment of a company HQ. Nick Clegg, at least, was out on the streets in Selkirk and found himself in the middle of a scrum.
I firmly believe that Scotland can enjoy more powers, more devolution, but still stand stronger together in what is the United Kingdom as a whole.
And here's the man who has them rattled. Alex Salmond is thoroughly enjoying himself, teasing the UK party leaders about their dash north of the border.
The reaction in the streets and communities of Scotland sees this as a last gasp piece of desperation from the Westminster establishment. And the Westminster establishment, I mean, they're not popular in England, never mind popular in Scotland.
This referendum campaign's been running for 2 years. In just over 1 week, Scots must decide. Andy Bell, 5 News, Edinburgh.